morning, Yamhill County. You are listening to the resurrection of To the Root of It, your local Yamhill Master Gardener radio show. I am Kyle Hunter. We have Ray over there, lopsided with those headphones.
Good morning. I've got one ear on anyway. Welcome back, Yamhill County. We're going to be discussing just gardening in Yamhill County because we do have such a localized climate. It's good to be able to know what to do in your backyard. We keep an eye on the weather. We're both weather phobes, and it's kind of critical to keep an eye on what's going on. We'll be discussing frost this morning.
It's a really pertinent topic right now. I know that we're going to be hit by some frost, if we weren't hit by some frost just recently. But it really is great. We have not been on the air for a few months now, but we are back. And for those who are not familiar with the radio show or the format, we do end up taking calls later on in the show, and we're here basically to answer questions about gardening, about the specific conditions in Yamhill County, because we've got that thick, rich clay that has to be nurtured and worked in. So specifically, each week we're going to be talking about these topics. For instance, this week we've got frost, which is it's damaging to say the very least.
We have a new number for this year too. So if you have a piece of paper and a pencil handy, go ahead and grab it, and we'll. The number is 503-376-6771, and we'll answer your questions, even if they're off topic, as long as it's on gardening. We don't do marital counseling,
Right. What else don't we cover? We basically those things. We like to stick to the gardening topics, where your begonias are, and the things that are happening with the winter, sending up cloches, and those kinds of things.
If we're one thing we may touch on today is a little bit of how to shut your garden down. How to I look at this as actually the time of the year when I'm not stopping gardening. I'm getting ready to start for next spring. And so we're going to be working on that a little bit. How to put things away, tools, hoses, draining your sprinkler systems, that sort of stuff.
Really, because the way I look at this time of year is I'm really ready to put my garden to bed. I feel like the past couple of weeks I'm done. I'm done with the garden, happy summer. That was great to see everything bloom and everything tasted very nice. But I just wanted to go to sleep. I want to go to sleep, and I just want to go back inside for just a couple of weeks. Just give me a couple of weeks where I don't have to touch anything in the garden, right?
Well, we've had this really nasty rainstorm, so you're going to have tomato damage. You're going to have split tomatoes. But now's a good time to go out and harvest the green ones that are still intact. You can store them pretty easily in a cardboard box. Just put each layer in between a layer of newspapers and set them out in the garage, and go ahead and eat them as they get ripe. You may have to sort through the box a little bit each time, because some of them are going to just plain rot, and you want to get those out as quickly as possible and just throw them away. But you'll be able to use a lot of your harvest. Things that you've left in the garden, like your winter squash, onions, beets, those will overwinter pretty good. You don't need to dig everything today. But potatoes, now is a good time in fact, today is going to be a beautiful day to go out and get the rest of the potatoes in, because it'll be enough sun this afternoon to dry the skins out quite nicely for you. And then you can just store them in a burlap bag.
Well, hopefully not just the skins. Hopefully the soil a little bit. So you're not digging out there in mud or something like that. Maybe it'll be a little bit fluffier.
It should be. We didn't get a lot of rain yesterday, so by today, that's interestingly enough, that's one of the advantages of the soil around here, is it will turn to adobe pretty quick on you. So if you can catch it while there's a little bit of moisture in it, it's a lot easier to dig.
Yeah. But let's go back to those tomatoes real quick, because I think it's something that most people, maybe particularly the beginning tomato grower, doesn't realize, that if you have those green tomatoes that are still on the vine, they're probably, not going to make it through a frost experience or something severe like that. And if you don't want to cover them, you go ahead and you do bring them in, and you can put them in a paper bag, and you just, you set them in the back, and as they begin to ripen, you go ahead and you take them out. But just because you see them green, they might not have enough time on the vine because of weather circumstances. But try just bringing them in and see how that works.
Well, if you pick them and save them, at least you've picked them and saved them. You're not going to save all of them, obviously. I've had a sack full of tomatoes last well past Thanksgiving before they were all rotted in garbage. It's going to happen, but you can extend your tomato season and be using your own ripe tomatoes for another month and a half pretty easily if you keep them from touching, keep them
make sure you don't use any split ones, because like you said, a few of them are going to be splitting now, but make sure that they've got the perfect seal around them.
Yep. Cull them out while you're picking them. Any of them that have blossom end rot, don't worry about that. Or if you want to just cut them up and use them in salsa, that's good too.
Right.
Green tomato salsa is yummy stuff.
To be determined.
I didn't have such good luck with my tomatillos this year. I learned a nasty lesson. Well, actually, it was kind of fun because I only wasted one plant. I discovered that you have to have cross-pollination with tomatillos.
I see. With some plants you do. You have to have that male, you have to have that female, you have to have that different DNA introduced.
They don't self-pollinate.
Right.
So I had this beautiful plant that was like 4 feet tall and probably 6-8 feet across. It was just huge, gigantic, and all these little paper sacks of nothingness. Oh God!
I know the paper sack that you're talking about. It looks like it should be a Chinese lantern or something.
Yeah.
It looks so perfect.
Yeah, it was cute plant. Looked like should have had a couple of 300 tomatillos on it. It had nothing.
Yeah.
Not a.
But
yeah.
that's why we garden. We garden to learn.
Yeah, it's next year we'll plant 2 of them. That's for sure, and probably thin them out because I don't know what I'd do with a couple of thousand tomatillos.
Well, my problem that I had this year on the salsa subject is the green peppers that I grew, not bell peppers, just Anaheim peppers, and I grew some jalapenos also, but they're still out on the vine, and they've probably been ready for about a month and a half now. And it's been really nice to watch them change into red on the vine.
Oh, they're
instead of on my counter and then turning a nice black mushy color.
Ooh.
But as we've talked about before, I'm really in the right now. I just want to see the plant go from beginning to end, and so I'm not necessarily out there to harvest the broccoli. I'd rather go ahead and see it turn into its flowers. I want to see what these peppers go through to from beginning to end, and they're not pretty right now. They're not pretty.
Well, it's not a bad thing to learn from your garden. Learn what cycles it goes through. You've got all winter to whack it off and mulch it. And as we know here in Yamhill County, we get these warm, sunny days. Well, warm. Okay, that's a qualitative analysis.
We get these sunny days.
Sunny days. Yeah, okay. That's as far as I'll go. Sunny days when you can go outside with less than 4 layers on.
Right.
And if you take a small section at a time, you don't have to do it all in one day either. We're here to encourage you to make your gardening simple. That makes it more fun. It also makes it more productive. That way you don't get sick of it and just go blankety blank. That was good,
where I am right now, actually, in terms of my garden. It's just I'm ready for a temporary separation, maybe a trial separation. We'll see how that works out.
Not a full divorce.
No, right, exactly. No, but because this summer, what I was doing was mostly infrastructure, building boxes, digging holes, laying down bark dust, watching the grapes that I planted 2 years grow their first small, unfulfilling fruit. And so I've spent, it was a labor-intensive year for my garden, and so I think that that's why I'm at the point right now where I just need to take a break and just let everything rot and then deal with it when the sun comes back.
Well, I don't do vegetables at home because we have our wonderful...
No, and I understand why. You've been saying that, and I get it. It's like it's too much work, right?
I don't fight with the aphids and the whitefly and things like that. I go to farmers market where it's all taken care of for me, and it's beautiful, and I can purchase what I need for a week and wait till next week.
And for the most part, it's botrytis-free or mold-free, and you don't have to worry about, absolutely, you don't have to wake up and go water the garden. Oh, I didn't water the garden. Oh, I didn't turn the timer on. Oh, I...
Yeah.
But that's why next year I'm annuals. That's what I'm doing. I'm going to dedicate a large majority of my garden to annuals because I just want to see things pretty. Let's just see some pretty things next year.
Yeah, a cut flower garden is absolutely a fabulous idea. And again, when you get done with it, you can be done with it. I have some perennials, excuse me, for year-round color. I have them selected so that something's blooming just about every month. And I took off this summer, and I had my wonderful neighbor lady come over and water my garden because I was gone for like 9 weeks. So I set it up as easily as possible, so all she had to do was turn on a faucet. And I had some leftover seed laying on the counter, so I threw that out there just for the heck of it. And, figured I'd find out later whether it was good or bad. It didn't make any difference. It was not going to grow at all as long as it was laying on my potting bench. But when I came back, I discovered that some of them were like giant zinnias, and my other neighbor goes, "Wow, you get your money's worth out of a small pot of dirt." And I went, "Yeah, well, I'll be trimming that up real soon."
It's a new technique, yeah, right?
Yeah,
put it all in the smallest container.
Yeah, it was pretty brushy. It was like, oh my God, who knew that was going to do that? They were pretty, but as soon as the rain hits, of course, they all tipped over in his driveway. So he had zinnias clear out underneath his car.
So you missed the summer for the most part, the growing season, but you got to see it all over the West.
I did. I traveled, 7 western states, and got to eat out of farmers markets in Washington, Idaho, Utah, Southern California. Down in Fullerton, California, has one of the biggest and best farmers markets I ever saw, right downtown the park blocks. And of course, they have the super duper live jazz music and stuff like that during their farmers market. Pretty impressive for the most part.
Yeah, for the most part. For the most part, I didn't even sample any of the farmers markets that we had this year. It was really a hectic summer. In the middle of planning a vineyard planting.
Well, yeah,
so that's going to be my big garden, and maybe that's why I'm kind of detaching myself from my other garden, is because, wow, we're a few months from having 5 acres of just one plant.
Oh my God, you're gonna be in the business soon.
Oh yeah, the snooty business of farming.
Oh, bless your heart.
But it's really great because the extension service is, which the Master Gardeners is obviously a branch of, or the volunteer service. We go ahead and answer questions not just related to gardening, but agriculture, working for the extension service. So what's really good is, for me, has been beneficial, is a lot of these little things that you learn about gardening, the lime treatment that's needed, all of these kind of translate into the bigger agricultural picture, which is where I'm going, by no means bigger picture, because it is only 5 acres, and to some people that may
still way more pasture land than I want.
Right, exactly, and to some people they're like 5 acres. Wow, that's. But in the grand scheme of the Willamette Valley of grape growers, that is nary a thimbleful. But it's really fun to see all of these things that I'm going to have to weed. There are weeding regimens, there are chemical treatments that have to be adhered to, and a lot of this stuff I gained the knowledge from the extension service, because of the people there. If you have questions about farming, about agriculture, oddly enough, that's what they're there for.
You're going to learn through trial by fire. It's not, it's tragic when you kill your potted plant on your porch, but when you wipe out 5 acres of grapes, you're going to cry like a baby.
I understand this because I have gone to school for this, but I think it's really important to find a very good management company that has many years of experience, whereas I have 2 or 3 vines of Concord grapes and some Pinot Gris that have been on this property that we purchased, and they've been there for 30 years. So I can see the grape growing process, and right now we're eating some pretty delicious grapes. The Concord grapes are, but nothing compared to 5 acres. It's going to be a little bit different.
Oh, and by the way, now's a good time to grab that piece of paper and a pencil, and I'm going to give you the number. It's 503-376-6771, and feel free to call us on any subject, as long as it's gardening, because that's really, we're volunteers with the Oregon State Extension Service. Go Ducks.
Well, let's just say that the Extension Service, which is located at 2050 Northeast Lafayette Avenue here in McMinnville, is open Monday through Friday and able to take those questions. If you have any questions, you can give us an email at yamhillmg@oregonstate.edu. But right now we're going to go ahead and take a quick break, and we will be right back. You're listening to The Root of It on KLYC 1260.
What are you saving for? It's a good question, because big dreams are financed by smart savings, and there's no better time to start saving than when you're young. That's why First Federal waives monthly service fees and minimum balance requirements for account holders under 18 years of age. So skip or run to First Federal, because your big dreams of tomorrow really do start with saving today. Your friends at First Federal are ready to help you invest in your tomorrows. First Federal. We're here for you. McMinnville Fire Department is dedicated to serving area residents with professional life-saving services. When you call, they respond. But they want to make sure you're not financially burdened if you have to be taken to the hospital in an ambulance. Did you know a hospital transport ride in an ambulance can cost $1,500 or more? However, with a Fire Med membership, that same ride can be totally covered for as little as $70 for residents and families inside the McMinnville city limits, and $90 for an entire family outside the McMinnville city limits. That amount covers your entire immediate family. FireMed plan also covers you in most of Oregon. FireMed, it's peace of mind and it's affordable. Call now to sign up. 503-435-5800. 503-435-5800. FireMed through McMinnville Fire Department.
And we are back right now to the root of it. Still working out all of these volume controls, but I am a quick learner, and I think we're all set.
Oh, heck, you're doing fine.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Back to the frost thing, though. Here in the Yamhill Valley, average first hard frost is generally around October the 15th. That's only 10 days away. So now's the time to start thinking about what you want to save and what you want to let go. Frost doesn't affect everything the same, of course. Some perennials are hardier, and some vegetables can overwinter just fine. Your winter squashes, yes, the frost will kill the vine, but it doesn't affect the fruit.
The fruit already has most of its stored food in it.
If the stems are hard, which they pretty well should be by now, they'll just lay in the field. They got that nice hard covering, and
Right.
and they're pretty well protected for several months yet. I wouldn't worry about them too much. But things like your cooking herbs, soft fruits, tomatoes, cucumbers. Should have the corn in the barn by now.
Do people
What
still
else?
put the corn in the barn? Is that-
Yeah, there's you can still sack it, leave it in the husk, and hang it in the barn, and it won't dry out too bad for several weeks.
Will do.
Yeah, or husk it, freeze it, that sort of stuff.
Now, on the pumpkins and the winter squashes, I made the mistake last year of laying down some really nice bark dust and letting the pumpkins grow into the bark dust. But because the flooring of my garden, I just wanted all bark dust because it looks neat and
Yeah.
it keeps the weeds away.
Tidy.
Right. And it just happens that in the raised bed the pumpkins were crawling out, so I just go ahead and let them crawl into the nice little rows of bark dust. But they rotted so much quicker. They hit that bark dust and they were just instant mush. They did not stand a chance.
Well, we've got a couple dozen pumpkins. I do vegetable garden,
And
but
you put them on boards though, right?
yeah, I lay the pumpkins up on plywood. It keeps the moles out of them. Last year we didn't do it, and I'll be dadgum of just about every pumpkin we rolled over to pick. Beautiful orange on one side. There would be about a 2 to 3 inch hole on the bottom.
I've never heard of moles going into pumpkins.
Something bored right up into them, and it was big enough to need a swinging door to get in.
Yeah.
I'm going to accuse moles.
Moles.
It may be just my own.
I thought they were the carnivorous ones. Maybe it was gophers.
It was something that come out of the dirt and into the pumpkins.
All right.
They were gutted. Whatever it was, it ate all the seeds out of the middle of it, though.
Oh, okay.
So it was something that, like the sweet sugary seeds.
Yeah. And knew to get through a hard skin and
You could see where they gnawed right through it.
so interesting.
It was like, oh man! So we put them. We put the jack-o'-lantern pumpkins up on plywood this year.
Yeah.
Actually, I think we used 2x6s. They're going to have to gnaw like a son of a
All the
gun to
way
get
up
into
there.
them suckers.
Yeah. But that's one of those things that I think that a big takeaway for me last year was for pumpkin care. If you're just growing a few of them and they're really important to you because you're going to be using them for jack-o'-lanterns or for pumpkin pie or something like that, just go ahead and drop some wood underneath them or something like that, and that should take care of them.
Yeah.
I wouldn't suggest plastic by any means, and no hemlock bark dust. That has been a proven no-go.
Yep. That's a fungus collector.
Yeah.
Oh well.
But back to frost.
Back to frost.
Because apparently we do have problems with that, and we're going to be coming to it. But you were talking about the herbs, which most of the backyard gardeners have. Rosemary is pretty frost tolerant. Anything that looks fragile probably is. You were talking about the soft-skinned fruits. If it looks fragile, it's going to have some effects from frost. I know that basil, it can't survive a frost attack. Almost all of the leaves will be dead. They just droop and turn black. But really easy to fix that is you just go ahead and you put something right over them, or you bring them inside.
Well, you can use a lightweight ground cover, something that lets a little light through, and protects the leaves. But you want to kind of keep an eye on the frost prediction, and protect your basil, your marjoram, sages, mints, parsley, summer savory, stevia, cilantro, although it's pretty tolerant mostly around here. Chives are fairly tolerant.
Cilantro kind of has to be, right? I mean, it's kind of close to the ground. It's not edible for me, but some people really love it. But yeah, it's pretty hardy. I'd call it hardy.
Well, what you can do is just whack it off a couple inches above the ground and mulch it, and it'll self-seed and come back next year if you're not careful. I mean, you can have cilantro all over the frickin' place.
I do.
Yeah, it rapidly becomes the dandelion of the herb world. But anyway, other plants that are going to react to frost and still not be damaged, though, are things like your hostas. The leaves will turn brown and go flat, and all you really need to do is whack off the leaves so that you don't have slug condos, and clean them up, rake them off, and throw 3 or 4 inches of mulch over the head. I'd like to go ahead and stick a little wire in the ground or a little wooden stake so I know where the center of it is. So if I start planting things this fall, I don't go and dig up my hostas. I'll wait and do them when they first sprout next spring. I'll divide the hostas because they get pretty carried away at my house. They'll overlap the front walk pretty bad.
But you like a hosta.
I do. I have 6 different varieties, so that it has a range of color all through the shade area. And then, just shortly before the Master Gardener plant sale, I'll dig them up, whack them off, chop them up in little piles, and put them back into pots and take them to the plant sale.
Oh, you don't just put them in trash bags and bring them to the plant sale? Because there are a lot of hostas that come in as donations. I think for that same reason. They're just prolific.
Oh, I'm kind of anal about that. I actually keep track of what colors are where, so that if people want to take and put them into their flower bed, they know what color they're going to be getting. But all of them are pretty giant size. But the leaves die back to the crown, and the crown is fine. I do like to keep them whacked off, though, because I hate slugs. I hate them.
You know, this year wasn't
I
bad
really
for
do.
slugs, though. For me, they didn't seem like a huge problem. I expected them everywhere in my garden because it was really nice and green and hospitable. But they weren't around as much as they have been in the past. I think I only had to evict 2 banana slugs.
Really?
Yeah.
You got lucky.
I got really lucky. I think that it's the bark dust.
And, you know, it could be if it was fairly coarse grind bark dust.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't like their little feet to
Touch
ick.
rough stuff.
Yeah.
Oh.
Their little tennis shoes trip on the bark dust.
Right.
But back to your plants. Most of your sensitive plants, if you just drape them in the evening, you can also mist them to kind of help prevent frost. The more moisture you have around plants, it creates a heat exchange so that the plants actually stay warmer. You notice that I don't know if it's so much around here, but up in the Hood River Valley, they'll run water all night long, even when it's a hard freeze, especially on the pears, because they want an early fruit. And trees will get covered with ice, but ice is an insulation because that keeps the tree from getting below 32 degrees.
It cannot get 32 degrees below, so the stuff that's inside the bark, inside the ice, can't get below that. But if you don't have that protection, if you don't have that ice protection, well, then it can get to below 20. It can get below whatever the air temperature is outside, and that's what does the damage, because the leaf is then exposed, the stem is exposed, and all of those cells die immediately. But a lot of plants can survive up to 32 degrees.
You can use commercial row covers. They come in varying weights. Lightweight is generally good enough around here, but you don't. You can use towels or draperies or sheets, cardboard. The only thing you don't want to use is plastic.
Well, that comes with some kind of caveat. You can use plastic because that will keep the stuff off, but this part of the plastic that is touching the plant is going to be very prone to frost damage, and that's the real reason. But if you're in a pinch, if you've got that plastic that's been laying around from when you did that paint job or something like that, you can go ahead and use that, and it'll protect it, but don't expect the 100%.
Yeah, throw an old cloth towel over the
Right.
top of it.
Because the water will be absorbed into the cloth, and then the cloth outside will be wet and frosted instead of the inside of the cloth. And
Makes like a little insulation blanket.
right.
Don't overwater your plants, especially your patio plants in the pots, because if we do get a really hard freeze that goes on for a couple of weeks, you can bust a pot pretty quick.
Because water expands when it gets cold.
I've wasted a couple of really nice clay pots that way.
I think that's an experiment though that I have to try now. I wanna get a soaking terracotta potter and see what that does in the wetness. I got to see that.
Well, when I bought the pots for the patio, they assured me that they were cured in such a manner that they would tolerate frost. So being as how we actually paid money for them, I'm going to still. They're all on little rollers and they're going back underneath the upper deck.
Yeah. I got to see that too. I mean, what's the treatment that would be involved in that?
It would be disconnecting the drip irrigation system, which just unsnaps.
It's great.
And just roll them back underneath the patio. That's if it gets really cold and it gets like we know we're going to get below freezing for a week or so.
I am looking at the weather right now, and I'm not seeing a below freezing. You know, the closest that we're getting is 41 degrees at night.
Well, in some low-lying areas where the cold will accumulate, we'll start having frosts.
Right.
If you're up where the wind is blowing, it's generally not too bad.
But we came close last night, the night before. It was into the 30s, and the past couple of mornings I've looked out and the dew is so close to being frozen. I mean, I wake up at 5 o'clock so I can see the sunrise, and it is almost there. It has almost been there.
Well, the wife said the other morning that there was some stuff on the windshield that was suspiciously didn't go away with the first swipe of the wipers.
With the first
Yeah, it's kind of like, okay, so yeah, it's time. A lot of your plants, though, like dahlias and tuberous begonias and cannas and stuff, will tolerate being in the ground as long as you give them a little insulation blanket of mulch, whack off all the dead leaves and stuff. If you're one who has got begonias and dahlias that you really are worried about, there's a very easy process for preserving them in the garage. Again, you're going to have to, and today would be a good day to think about it. Dig them up, clean them off, let them set in the garage for overnight or, up to a few days till they kind of dry out a little bit, and then just pack them in some peat moss. They'll be fine.
Yeah, I'm almost to that point. I'm a dahlia man. I don't know if you knew that about me, but I love the dahlias. I haven't reproduced any, but they come back each year in the pots that I have for them. But this year I am going to try and repurpose them because they are really nice. And this year I starved them from attention, water, and food, but they still seem to live a little bit. A really tough plant, I think water-wise, and they're really good.
Well, that's the one thing I cleaned up the other day was my dahlias. I whacked off all the dead brush and just picked up the pots and put them back underneath the potting shed in the garage. They'll be fine.
Yeah. And this is kind of a good time. October is about the time with these tubulars that you want to start to get them out of the ground and get ready. And when we have these big sun breaks, that's the good time to get into the soil too, to get these things out. You might be stretching out some more fun time from them for a couple of weeks, but end of October you should probably start thinking about having them out.
I don't worry too much about daylilies or iris or things like that. They seem to do pretty fine.
No, they don't need my help. If they are where you want them, then they will definitely come back the next year. But if you're looking to move them, then you're going to want to grab a few of them out of the ground and stick them in your garage, in the air. potato sack.
Or if your iris are starting to grow out of the ground, then it's time to dig them up and break them apart. Find a friend that really needs your iris.
Those are another plant that show up at the plant sale donations because people don't have a hard time
Buy
growing
the
them.
sackful.
Hey, do you have any irises? No, yes we do. Yes, we do. Yes.
Yeah, here's a 5-pound sack of tubers for $2.
Yeah, they definitely spread really fast and without aid.
Yeah, for sure. I had somebody one day call up the master gardener desk and wanted to donate iris. And so I went out to look at them because I think, oh, well, that'd be wonderful. And I get out there, and they got a strip 2 feet wide, about 150 feet long, and the tubers are a half inch to an inch out of the ground.
Right.
I went, oh, what you need is a small backhoe.
Right. You seem to have a problem.
Thank you very much for your offer.
Oh man, that is it's a lot, and they can get daunting. There are a few plants that are like that if you don't realize that plants are there for your enjoyment, and you might have to get rid of a few of them and not just let them overtake your yard, you're better off for it.
If you have questions and after thinking about it after the show, don't forget to call the extension office. It's 503-434-7517. And you can ask your questions there, or you can email at yamhillmg
at oregonstate.edu.
Oh, thank you.
You got the first part. That's really good.
All righty. We're going to be taking a little break here pretty quick, so write down the number. It's 503. I got to look at it again. 503-376-6771. That's our new temporary number here at the radio station. And we'll be using it for a while until it gets reestablished. And we'll let you know when that change happens as well.
But right now we're going to take a break. You're listening to KLYC 1260 AM.
AM 1260 KLYC, and the weather forecast, some low clouds today, but otherwise mostly to partly sunny skies, highs in the upper 60s. Tomorrow even better, mostly sunny, 71 for a high. Monday, though, back to cloudy skies, cooler, and chance of showers, low 60s for a high on Monday. I'm Dave. That's a look at the weather, AM 1260 KLYC. If you're involved in a vehicle crash, you need to take your car or light truck to a repair center that will fix it right the first time. The philosophy of J&W CarStar Collision Repair Center in McMinnville is relax. We'll take it from here. Roger Fowler stands by his crew's reputation. J&W CarStar Collision Repair Center, 1100 Northeast Lafayette in McMinnville. AM 1260 KLYC, and a look at Friday night's football action. It was a victorious night for both teams, Mac and Newburgh, both winning in a game you heard on AM 1260 KLYC. McMinnville over Hillsborough 47-7. Newburgh outdistancing Century. Newburgh winning 21-18. Other games had Beaverton downing Aloha 29-21. It was Lake Oswego defeating Canby 35-14. By 1 point, Centennial over Barlow 29-28. Central Catholic upending Gresham 47-5. It was Clackamas killing West Lynn 40-7. Glencoe over Forest Grove much closer, 19-12. Other games had Oregon City defeating Grant 34-21. Grants Pass downing South Eugene 31-14. Lake Ridge over Lincoln 34-14. West Salem outdistancing McKay a lot 75-23. Other scores: North Medford over Thurston 38-32. It was a shutout. McNary shutting out North Salem 28-0. Reynolds defeating David Douglas 20-7. It was South Medford defeating Roseburg 30-21. Sheldon upending Crater 45-24. Southridge outdistancing Sunset 27-10. Sprague over South Salem 41-10. Tigard killing Tualatin 62-7. And Jesuit over Westview 48-17. Again, games of local concern: McMinnville over Hillsborough 47-7, and Newburgh getting by Century 21-18. A look at Friday night sports. from AM 1260 KLYC. Are you enjoying life, or do you feel tired all the time? Would you like to simply feel good and have more energy? If you answered yes, visit Snap Fitness in McMinnville. Now is a good time to sign up. Working out at Snap Fitness is fast, convenient, and affordable. $64.95 a month for 2 people or $39.95 per person. 10% off for college students, steel mill workers, and any group with 7 or more people. If you enroll in September, there is no enrollment fee, and you can try a 2 or 3 day trial pass to make sure it's a good fit. They have a wide selection of workout equipment, including equipment for clients with arthritis and fitness on demand. Snap is open 24 hours a day for your convenience, and staff is available on a scheduled basis to help you out. It's a snap to feel better. It's time to enjoy life. It's time to get into shape, and Snap Fitness is there. They make it a snap. Located next to Albertsons on Keck Drive in McMinnville, Snap Fitness.
The best sales happen for a reason, and this one happens just once a year. The end of the model year clearance has begun at Newburgh Ford. Why now? Because the 2014s are arriving and we have to make room. The factory has stepped up. You'll get incentives of up to $5,000. And we're marking every vehicle with additional discounts you wouldn't think possible. Don't want to rush my fellow Tiger fans, but things do move fast during the end of the model year clearance. So come see us today at Newburgh Ford, where we just work harder for you.
And we are right back here to the root of it on KLYC. We've been talking about frost all morning. Ray, why don't you go ahead and give that number out one more time?
Yes, the call-in show number here is 503-376-6771. How many of you have figured out what our theme song music is?
I know what it is.
I know what it is, too. I looked it up last night on old YouTubes.
Right.
And they have a shindig clip with all the go-go dancers in their white little boots and their long little flannel skirts. It was really cute.
Thank goodness for YouTube.
Yeah, it was great.
So what else do we have to talk about on the subject of frost? Because we do only have a few more minutes to hopefully take calls or to answer, to talk about this frost thing. Get everybody ready for it.
Mulch, mulch, mulch.
That's true.
Yeah.
It's really, it's something that the way that you want to do it is that.
Cheapest fix in the planet. You can grind up your leaves, run over them with a lawnmower, dump them on top of stuff. It's great.
Yeah, and getting it, if you know as soon as you know when the frost is coming, you get that mulch a little bit wet. That acts as an even better insulation.
Yeah, absolutely. You don't have to go out and buy expensive. Ooh, look, the magic happens.
It's a bright light. So let's see. I've got a clearer here. We do have a phone call. I'm going to pick up the call right now. Good morning. You're on the air with To the Root of It. Who's this?
Yeah, this is Dave. How are you?
Hey, Dave. How's it going? You got an interesting gardening question for us, or just a comment on the show in general?
Well, I got a question. Let's say that I want to have tomatoes year-round. I've just moved over here to the Willamette Valley. Can I grow tomatoes outside year-round, or is it too cold here to do that?
I can't hear him.
Oh, well, that's because you can't. Ray's having a hard time hearing it, so I'm going to have to go ahead and answer this question for you. Well, it is possible to grow the tomatoes year-round, which is what the question was. I'm going to translate it over to Ray. If you can grow tomatoes year-round here in Willamette Valley. It is kind of possible with the proper care, with the proper heating, but it's not something you really see all the time, right, Ray?
Well, there are people who use the cloches, the little plastic greenhouses, and they can extend their tomato season quite handily beyond the first frost. One of the interesting things I ran across on our little trip was a guy down in Ferndale, California, that's low-lying. It's coastal, but they do have problems with frost occasionally. But he starts his tomatoes in January in a greenhouse, and he does use air heater.
Right.
But he grows a greenhouse that's 30 feet wide and 60 feet long. And so he's harvesting tomatoes by the 1st of June. He's some of the first tomatoes produced that show up in farmers markets around the area. Totally greenhouse driven. And he grows them year round in the greenhouse.
But the key is the temperature. You have to keep it above 50 degrees essentially for the plants to actually start doing anything. They might be able to survive, but they're not necessarily going to be growing if the temperature isn't at least 50 degrees, because it's like your blood doesn't flow if it's cold. Photosynthesis shuts down below 50, above 90 or thereabouts. So if the plant is hotter than 90 degrees, it's not doing anything. If it's below 50, it's not doing anything. But they do have these great cloches, these great container gardens that you can have, and you can grow them. But I don't know if it's worth it or not. But you've seen people do it, though, right?
Yeah, I've seen people do it, but they do use additional heating systems.
It's definitely the only way to get a good tomato in the middle of winter, though, because that stuff that you're getting from the grocery store is definitely out of season and grown in a greenhouse, probably under similar circumstances.
They had a long walk to get here.
Right.
Yeah, and they're probably picked green as grass and allowed to ripen in the trucks on the way up.
Right, exactly. So did that answer your question there?
Yeah, so it's possible for the tomato plant to produce all year long if you have the right temperature?
Right, as long as you have the right temperature. But at some point, though, like let's say that you have your tomato that's been growing since March, you're probably not going to get it to grow much past October. I mean, the fruit isn't going to be big. It is because the vine has gotten longer and longer and longer. So if this is something that you were going to do, you might think about planting the plants, let's say about now, September-ish, and then so that way they're in this protective container when they start to really take off.
Yeah, you have to treat them like a indoor potted plant.
Right.
With very favorable conditions, and there's a point where cost effectiveness rears its ugly head. But you can start them earlier in a cloche, and you can harvest them longer in a cloche. Between November and the 1st of March, it's pretty much a waste of time and energy, and it's just not cost effective unless you have them in a situation where you can move them in and out of your garage or some heated area. Tomatoes are really warm temperature lovers. Our growing season here is generally 1st of June at the earliest till mid-October at the very latest.
Right, and the tomatoes are anywhere from 60 to 90 days requiring. Yeah. But we do have some really nice vegetables like broccoli that loves the cold, spinach loves the cold, radishes and carrots. Those are perfect winter things that you don't even necessarily have to have a cloche or anything like that to grow, because our winters are mild. You might get a few below zeros. We hardly get any snow except for in the hills, but those are other possibilities too.
Yeah, with the little plastic hoop houses, so you can have green onions,
potatoes
in January.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know about potatoes.
Don't
they
need
potatoes
there in the cloche.
They need warm soil.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But beets, carrots, radishes, various kinds of lettuce, spinach, of course, kale if you've learned how to cook it.
Kale's the big one. Kale is the most. I mean, I think that it's really adapted to the climate here because it grows so prolifically. It gets big, it gets bright, it's really happy here.
It's really, once you learn how to cook it and cook with it, stir fries and things like that are wonderful usages of kale. It's like one of those uber vitamin things.
But and then if you have more questions on the hoop houses that we're talking about, the cloches, the extension office is always available for that, and the extension.oregonstate.edu website actually has how to make these things, when to, and it's a really great packet that's available for free to download
People
online.
People be surprised just how easy it is to have a small greenhouse in the backyard. You can go to Restore and buy a couple of tuba 12s for a couple of bucks, and the white plastic pipe that you need for support, really, really cheap.
PVC, yeah.
Yeah, just PVC pipe. You can even get leftover painter's plastic that's plenty durable, and put it together in an afternoon, and you got a garden.
Yep. So thanks for the call, and we hope to be hearing from you soon.
Alrighty, thanks.
Okay, thanks. Well, that was our first call of the new show. So I think that went pretty well. What do you think? I'm figuring out how to work a mouse here, people. So something I haven't done in quite some time.
We'll get the hang of it.
No, I've been all touch screens. Everything is touch screen now. So it's kind of weird for me to have the mouse.
Really?
Yeah. Don't you find that on your iPad, Ray? On your
my who?
On your smart telephone?
Yeah, right. I just got a touchscreen phone. I'm not allowed to have internet yet.
Well, that's a shame.
Yeah. No, I just upgraded to a little better quality phone, but no,
well, that is a shame because I often find myself going to the extension website on my smart telephone, and it's really it's a help because the PDFs that you can download. I mean, I can on my phone have a PDF of how to build a hoop house within a minute. That can be on my phone, and I can be at the store purchasing large quantities of PVC pipe and rebar.
Really?
Yes, and it's really great. So all you have to do, if you want to get information like how to build a hoop dream, how to do your winter gardening, how to do anything that you're possibly doing, extension.oregonstate.edu/Yamhill.
They actually, yeah, the plans are really very simple. You can put the whole thing together in a couple of hours on an afternoon. A nice little 4x8 garden that will feed a family of four all the green veggies you need for biggest share of the winter. Even hoop houses slow down in December and January.
They have to. I mean, that's just
the
nature of the beast.
Yeah, it just gets too cold. But
those vegetables that we talk about, they don't have a problem because there are some plants that they don't care because it's not getting cold enough. It's not like we get 3 feet of snow at any point.
Another one that we didn't mention are the little sugar snap peas.
Yes.
They do wonderful in hoop houses.
Exactly.
And you go buy a pound of them for $5 at the store, you can pay for your hoop house pretty quick.
But the tomato question is definitely a question that often comes up. I remember when I started being a master gardener a couple of years ago. Those were the first questions that I was ever getting was about tomatoes. Why can't I grow tomatoes? And the answer is we might not have a long enough growing season for those tomatoes.
Yeah, tomatoes need warm dirt.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the bugaboo, even with a hoop house, is how do you keep the dirt warm enough for tomato roots?
Right.
It can be done,
right?
But it takes a lot of planning. But
it is one of those plants that I think attracts gardeners initially, because you can see the results, and the results are juicy. And it seems like something that you can take care of, and it looks like you're doing all of this work. But in reality, the plant's going to do it by itself, whether you're there or not.
I think the real problem is pollinators.
Yeah.
When it's too cold for insects, we're screwed.
Right.
It's just bottom line.
You can't do that.
You got to have the little guys flying around. And if we don't have any pollinating insects out, it's not going to make much difference. That's why the cold weather crops that don't need pollinators work really well in hoop houses. Small root crops and things of that nature. You can grow beets, you can grow carrots, you can grow onions, basic salad greens, anything that doesn't need pollinators will grow well in a hoop house all winter long. And then when you get, late February, early March, when the first pollinators start buzzing around, you can just flip up the plastic and go ahead and seed your early spring crops that do need pollinators.
Or hope they do show up.
Oh, yeah, or hope they do show up. Yeah, all you need to. And we've had that happen, too, where the pollinators come out in March, and then we get another nasty frost, and boom, the bees are gone.
Yeah, where'd they go? Oh, they died.
They died. Restart.
Yeah. No, and that reminds me of a story about, I think this happened this summer, where one of the parking lots at a mall, they went ahead and they sprayed the plants for...
Oh, that was icky.
Wasn't it 25,000 bees died? I think they raised it up to 50,000. But they sprayed the trees for an herbicide or
Right.
something like that. But the bees didn't like it so much, so they all died. And it was at the beginning of pollination needing. And so you had all of these... And I just picture that happening all over the country, all over the world.
Ooh.
You have these mass bees just dead, and then you don't have any flowers, you don't have any fruits, you don't have any of these.
You got nothing, and you got hungry people. Yeah, I think they had a problem with aphids or some other insect that was.
Right, exactly. It was an insecticide that they did.
Yeah.
Not plan on bees being adverse to because
they
thought it was just for aphids.
Right, they didn't. Yeah, it was bad. Nobody read the label.
Which is very important and very easy to do, and that's another thing that we've stressed many times on the radio show is that when you're dealing with these chemicals, they make it really easy to read the label. It tells you how much to apply, it tells you how much to use, and it tells you the adverse reactions that other things might have to it. So it doesn't take a lot of time to read the label, but apparently somebody didn't.
No. Yeah, that was a major ooskray upskay.
Yeah.
But anyway, well, we thank you for listening to us this morning. It's good to be back.
And even though there is a chance of rain, 72 degrees, it looks like it's going to be a beautiful day. If you don't have anything else to do, it is a good day to go ahead and get into that garden.
Well, I'm going to go out and finish trimming the perennials and get that done, and then I'll be ready for wintering over things. I'll worry about digging up the dahlias later.
Okay. So we'll go ahead and we'll see you all next week. You've been listening to The Root of It, and that's right here on 1260 KLYC.